We're going to talk to Mike Neville in just a second, retired Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector. Rows are breaking out, protests are happening, and this was the response yesterday from the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham.
As Mayor of Greater Manchester, and we're all proud of the way we work with each other in this city region, I would ask for calm, because what I can assure people is that the right steps have been taken, the right and proper steps have been taken in the right way. Time has been taken just to sort of, get a clearer picture of what has happened. The investigation now needs to be allowed to proceed in a thorough and measured way, because it has to be fair to everyone in the situation. That said, I will be speaking to the Independent Office for Police Conduct today to ask them to work with us to put in place arrangements to ensure the highest level of independence for this investigation, and secondly, that there will be input from community stakeholders.
Reasonable words, fairly measured stuff from Andy Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester. Let's speak with Mike Neville, retired senior police officer, of course, Detective Chief Inspector, formerly at Scotland Yard. Mike, morning to you. Look, we're aware that an incident happened. The optics aren't great, but of course the detail is often far more telling. There is an investigation into this. An officer has been suspended, but it didn't stop the mob rule pitching up outside police stations and elsewhere, which of course has extended from not just people who are bothered about this incident, but people who are bothered about Palestine, Black Lives Matter, and who knows, maybe Brexit as well. Morning.
Yes, good morning, Ian. Yes, you can see almost a polarisation of society here. So the family have asked for this not to be politicised. Andy Burnham's words were very moderate there, calling for calm. But you've got, I've heard people here, you've got the Black Lives Matter, the Palestine, all jumping on board this. And on the other side, you've got people saying, well, if you attack the police, you deserve a good kicking. Well, I don't think we want to live in a society where the police dish out retribution. We want the police to act firmly and fairly. We don't want them to run away like they did in Leeds. And we really don't want officers, if they're allegedly attacking people because another officer has been injured. So we need a halfway house here. But I think the best thing that could happen here is that we're told, have a look at this in context. So let's get this video, let's get all the video watched as soon as possible, and let's release things that can be, so people can see there's nothing been hidden away. That might diffuse the situation, but there are people who will seize onto this. And again, whilst we don't want the people supporting the police giving people beatings, we don't want people mob rule where they're demanding things. So it is this polarisation of society which I really fear here.
What is your take, Mike? Something that isn't getting perhaps the headlines that some are seriously wondering that it should do, is the assault on police, which we understand happened. I think possibly 3 officers it's said were attacked. One we hear, or we certainly heard yesterday, had a broken nose. Why do you sense we're not seeing any arrests over that, or is that a diplomatic reason, do you think, behind that?
Well, as I understand it, the men were taken to the police station, so they were arrested and then released. So I imagine that is a matter of being on bail, okay. And that's a matter of the affray will be looked into as part of the whole process. But of course, events have overtaken those assaults, and now we have what you can see on the screen being shown right now. This is going to be diffused.
With the condition of the man concerned, I mean, if you listen to his lawyer, that is sounding like you remember Comical Ali from back in the Iraq War days. He used to give these curious press conferences citing doom and destruction and that Iraq are winning the war. And this fella seems to be giving him a run for his money. First, he's told us that his client has a cyst on his brain. We only have his word for that. Let's hope that isn't the case, but and I say that kindly. But then we hear his position. His condition has deteriorated, he said. But this is while the man was apparently still sitting in A&E before he was seen. So I'm not sure what any of this is based on, but certainly it appears that side of the story is being ramped up a little bit. Maybe understandably.
Well, absolutely. Well, let's hope there is no cyst on his brain, and let's hope that the man is fully recovered. But the another interesting thing that came out of that briefing was it was said that the two men who you can see in the video here, they're related to a police officer who's a member of Greater Manchester Police, who says he's now in fear of going to work. So not only you've got all these added things into it that they're related to a serving police officer.
As for the incident itself, even the mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has said that the video is not clear-cut. That's reasonable, right? I mean, there are often, as horrendous as things can look, and no one is defending the indefensible, but there is often more to these things than meets the eye.
Absolutely. I mean, my expertise is CCTV and video, and at first sight things can look horrendous, and then you look at it from another angle and it's not. I mean, having said that, looking at at first sight, somebody being kicked in the head does not look good at all.
Yeah.
And this is why, if there is a full context of video, then that needs to be released and shown to the public so they can be reassured, and these protests might be dampened down.
Mike, thank you for your time, sir. Really appreciate your words on these things. Mike Neville regularly helps us out with these kind of stories. Retired Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector. On that point, Ellie in Manchester says when 22 souls were blown apart, including children, after a concert at the Manchester Evening News Arena, people in the city got together to pay respects, lay flowers and sing Don't Look Back in Anger. Then a man breaks a police officer's nose, gets kicked and stomped, and there are loads of unrest. It is interesting how people select what stories go. I mean, you look at it on a wider scale. There's a lot of horrendous things going on around the world right now. But if Israel so much as opens a door the wrong way, everybody loses their mind, and there are protests 5,000 miles away for something that is happening there. That is clear, straightforward, Class A anti-Semitism. Loud and proud for those who take part in that kind of stuff. We didn't hear it when a million Muslims are being kicked out of Pakistan. We don't hear it about Yemen. We don't hear it about so many other places. But as soon as Israel does something, everybody loses their mind. And similarly with these kind of stories. Where were the protests in Rochdale when the grooming gang stories were around? Well, I didn't see any of this stuff. You might think if ever there was a cause to stand up and say, and question the authorities. And remember, when it came to grooming gangs, we were talking about the police, we were talking about local authorities, we were talking about counsellors, we were talking about social services, and nothing for years went on while children were being systematically abused and raped. I don't remember seeing a protest about that. You get one incident at Manchester Airport where some half-wits kick off over something, or that's certainly what the video looks like, and suddenly the world loses its mind. And everybody is there protesting. In fact, the protests are from Black Lives Matter, pro-Palestinian protests. I don't know, the RSPCA were probably there with a placard at some point. Who the hell knows? 0344 499 1000. What is going on in that respect? We'll take some more calls and response in a second. Don't go away, Barry in Norwich, with you in a moment. This is Talk.